Hello and welcome to Monday's Yoga Club. Your practice is at your own risk, so do pay attention to how your body feels today. Only do the things that are what your body needs, taking rest whenever you need to. We're going to start the class standing up today, so if you want to come up to standing. So this is the bit where we're just warming up. As always, these are great things to do before you go out for a run or a ride. And actually particularly the things we've got today are excellent things to just warm up the bits that need warming up. So standing with your hands relaxed by your side, feet hip distance apart. And then when you're ready, picking up your right knee, drawing your right knee in towards your chest, then taking it out to the right, bringing it back and lowering it down. Picking up the left knee, drawing it in, taking it out to the left, back into the centre and taking it down. And then keep that going in your own time, alternating your knees, just taking it out as far as is comfortable for your hips. You'll probably find as you warm up that you'll have a chance to maybe taking it out a little further. A nice little bit of early balancing in the class, so you might want to have a spot that you're taking your gaze to. You might also, just wondering who's joining us. You might also want to not take it out so wide or so long if you need to. So taking one more of those to each side. And then bring that to a halt. From there, stand yourself at the end of your mat. Hands relaxed by your side. And then from there, just take a forward fold, bending your knees as much as you need so your fingertips are touching the ground. And then walk your hands forward all the way until you find yourself in a plank. Only holding for a moment and then walking your hands back and rolling up. And then keeping that going in your own time. Coming down, bend your knees as much as you need so your hands come onto the ground, walking forward to plank. No need to hold plank up particularly strongly. It's the movement that matters here rather than a strong plank. Rolling all the way back up at the end. So taking two more of those. And then once you've come up to standing with your hands relaxed by your side for a moment, shoulders relaxing, you can see how that has elevated breathing and heart rate. So it is a nice way of just getting things going if you wanted to be warm before you set out. So carrying on warming up, let's take our sun salutations. Coming up to the top of your mat, bringing your feet together, letting your arms relax by your side, lifting the crown of your head up towards the ceiling, relaxing your shoulders. Little tilt of the chest up towards the ceiling, and then we'll take 2 breaths before our first round. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, bringing your palms together at the centre of your chest. Press them firmly together, lifting your elbows. Then reach your arms up. Once they're lifted, look between them. Then lift them higher and take them back a little bit further. So you're tilting the base of your rib cage upwards. Then from your hips, stretching forward and then down. Bend your knees as soon as you need. Let your neck muscles relax so that everything can hang heavy over your legs. Take your right leg all the way back, as far back as you can stretch it, lifting your gaze, relaxing your hips. Don't let your right leg just hang loose, keep it active, so keep your knee lifting. Then take your left foot back, coming into down face dog. Lift your hips high to the ceiling, press your hands down into the ground, press your heels towards the ground. Come forward from there to plank, so your shoulders are over your wrists, you're looking between your hands. Strengthen your plank, draw your tummy in, press your heels away, keep your knees lifted. Then lower your knees, followed by your chest, making contact with your chin, or if you can reach your forehead on the ground, then press yourself forward, lift your face and lift your chest to cobra, shoulder blades ease back and elbows come in close. Tucking your toes under, then lifting your hips back to down face dog. Take them back towards your heels first if you need to. Hips lifting, hands pressing down, heels pressing down. Push your hands forward a little so you take your armpits back as you press yourself away. Then we'll take our calf stretches. So bending your right knee, and then as you next exhale, press your left heel firmly to the mat, stretching your left calf. As you inhale next, swap that over. Now bending your left knee, and as you exhale, right heel firmly to the mat. 2 more each side, so inhaling, swap that over, and exhaling, left heel firmly groundwards. Inhale to swap, exhale, it's the right heel. Inhale, swap, the firm press down on the exhale of the left heel. Inhale to swap, exhale, the right heel firmly down. Then press your left heel to the ground to join the right. Reset your dog if you can, lift your hips, press your hands forward, then look between your hands and bring your right foot through. Help it as much as you need with your right hand, let your hips relax and your gaze lift. Left foot comes through to forward fold, everything's relaxing over the legs, knees bent as much as you need to bring your fingertips just touching the ground. Then lead up with your arms, raising them up to the ceiling, then bring your body with them, looking between your hands, taking your arms back, and hands come down. Inhale, exhale, palms firmly pressed together. Reach and stretch your arms up, looking between your hands. From your hips, stretch forward and down. Nice and slowly. Let your arms anchor you, break you as you come down, so keep them lifted for as long as you can. Left leg all the way back. Gaze lifts, hips relax down. Keep the left knee lifted, keep the left heel pressing away, lengthening you out, stretching your collarbones forward. Then right foot back. Hips lift to the ceilings, your hands press down, heels to the ground. Push your hands away, taking your armpits back and down, sending your back of your thighs towards the wall behind you. Come forward to plank, looking between your hands in plank, core lifted, heels pressing away behind. If you're feeling strong, you can come down in one straight line, taking your elbows back to lower you down. Otherwise, it's knees, then your chest. Press forward to lift your face and chest into cobra, shoulder blades easing back as you do so. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips to down face dog. Hips, take them as close to the ceiling as you can. Send the back of your thighs to the wall behind you, press your heels down, pushing the mat away, chest back towards your knees, armpits towards the ground. Look between your hands, left foot through. Soon as it's through, lift your gaze. Right foot comes through, relaxing here for that moment with your head hanging heavy. Then lead up with your arms, reaching forward and lifting, looking between your hands at the top, and hands come down. Inhale, exhale. So we'll take one more round, flowing this time with the breath. Hands relaxing, crown of your head lifting. Inhale, that's our rest breath. Exhale, palms firmly together. Inhaling, reaching up and stretching back. Exhale, forward and down. Fingertips touching the ground, knees bent as much as you need. Inhale, right leg all the way back. Hips relaxing, gaze lifting. Exhale, left foot back. Hips lift on high, heels pressing down. Inhale, forward to plank. Shoulders over wrists. Exhale as you steadily lower. Knees then chest all one straight line. Inhale, face and chest lifts into cobra. Hands just relaxing on the ground. Exhale, hips lift, heels press down, hands press forward. Inhale, right foot through. Lift your gaze, keep your left knee lifting. Exhale, left foot through, forward fold. Inhale, reach and stretch your arms up, looking between your hands. Exhale, hands down. Inhale. Exhale, palms together, lifting your elbows. Inhale, reach and stretch up and back, lifting your arms out of their sockets. Exhale, forward and down. Keep your hands lifted for as long as you can. Inhaling, left leg back. Hips relax. Exhale, right foot back. Now hips lift as high as you can. Exhale, forward to plank. Keep your navel lifted. Exhale to lower. Inhale, face and chest lifts. Elbows head backwards as your chest heads forwards. Exhale, toes tuck. Hips lift, hands press forward. Inhale, left foot through. Lift your gaze when you get there. Exhale, right foot through. Forward fold, head hanging heavy to the ground. Inhale, reach and stretch up and back. Exhale, hands down. Taking your feet apart, turning your palms forward. 2 cooling breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Wonderful. It's quite muggy tonight, isn't it? I don't always like where you are, but it's quite a warm night. So we're going to come to lying down and we're going to take a leg stretch using a belt if you've got one. If you don't have a yoga belt, that doesn't matter. You can use a cord from a dressing gown. You could use a tie because they're not getting too much use these days. Anything that just lets you lift your leg will be perfect. And then once you've located something to lift your leg with, it's not the end of the world if you don't have a belt, but it's good if you do. Then just stretch out, coming into Shavasana, feet to the corners of the mat, hands away from your body, palms turned up. Taking good rest. So we'll take a stretch of our legs, bending your knees, bringing your feet in towards you, reaching for your belt, looping the middle of the belt around the ball of your foot and stretching your leg out. Resting your head on the ground once your leg's stretched out. Your arms should be straight, so you're holding as close to your feet as you can reach. Flexing your right foot and pressing your right knee down so that leg becomes straight. Now often when we take a hamstring stretch like this, if you've got tight hamstrings, then I'll definitely suggest that you bend your knee. But what I'd like you to do at first, at least, is really prioritise straightness. So your leg with your knee pressing down and toes towards you is really straight. Keep that straightness as you slowly inhale and lift that leg up towards the ceiling. So keep it straight, lifting as high as you comfortably can. Once you've got as high as you can, reach your hands up so you're holding a belt loop in each hand with your hands as close to your foot as you can reach. Keep the leg good and straight. And then ease your leg back a little more to the first biting point. So that's where you're feeling the stretch in your leg. But you shouldn't have discomfort in your lower back. If you've got discomfort in your lower back, you might need to just ease off with the leg a little. And then we're going to use the breath and find more biting points, keeping the leg straight. So as you inhale, ease your leg back a little to the next biting point. And as you exhale, let everything relax, your shoulders, your upper body, your hips, and then keep that going with your breath, so that each time you inhale, you should, if you've relaxed well on the exhale, find another biting point. So move your leg back another millimetre or two. If though your back of your knee is uncomfortable, particularly if you hyperextend, or if your lower back is very uncomfortable, you can put that bend in your knee. But if you're able to keep the leg straight, feeling a good stretch down the back of your hamstrings, then do. So taking one more breath, a final ease back on the inhale and relax of everything, especially your shoulders on the exhale. Then pass both belt loops to your right hand. Extend your left arm out along the ground at shoulder height. Now, if you just notice where your leg is now, as you take your leg out to the side in a moment, I want you to keep your leg at the same position in reference to the top of your mat and the bottom of your mat. As it goes out to the side, don't let it go any closer to the bottom of your mat. So when you're ready, arm and exhale, let your leg come out to the right hand side. Let the belt slip through your fingers, bend your right elbow to let your right elbow come onto the ground. Your leg may not come so low to the ground if you're not allowing it to go towards your feet. So you're just bringing it as low as it will comfortably go. Taking your left knee out to the left. And that helps, you want to keep your left hip in contact with the ground. And if you now just relax, you should get a good stretch down the inside of your right leg, down the inside of your left leg. So take one more breath there. On the exhale, see if your right leg will relax down to the ground one touch more. Then as you next inhale, bring your leg back up to the center. Reach up so you've got a belt loop in each hand, as close to your foot as you can reach, and then ease your leg back to its biting point. Discomfort but not pain. And then bending your knee, release your foot from the belt and stretch your right leg out. Stretch your left leg out as well for a moment. Allow your feet to relax apart. Ready for the next one. Bending your knees, bringing your knees in, feet hip distance apart. Pick up your left foot, loop the belt around the ball of your left foot, and then extend and stretch your leg out so your heel touches the ground. Reach forward with your hands so you're holding the belt as close to your foot as you can reach. Drawing your left toes towards you, pressing your left knee down. As you next inhale, slowly lift that straight leg up towards the ceiling. Once it's gone as high as it will initially go, take your hands up, reach up, a belt loop in each hand holding close to your foot, shoulders relaxing. As your shoulders relax, you'll probably feel the belt pull more tightly onto your foot. Making sure that your foot is kind of in the same plane as the ceiling. So you might find you need to just push the big toe side of your foot a little up to the ceiling so that it is properly aligned. Then ease back to your first biting point, discomfort, not pain. Then start to use your breath to find more. Inhaling, ease your leg back a millimetre or two. Exhale, relax everything in your upper body. Breath by breath, lengthening your hamstrings. One more breath, seeing if you can notice your toes move against the ceiling on the inhale. Pass both belt loops to your left hand. Hold close to your foot as you can reach, right arm out along the ground. Attention's on your right hip. You want to keep your right hip bone close to the ground as on your next exhale you take your leg out to the left, keeping it from going towards the bottom end of your mat. Belt slips through your fingers, your left elbow bends, right knee heads out to the right. That will help connect your right hip to the ground. Keeping your left foot flexed, just letting it rest and relax, holding it up with your legs, so with your arm, so strengthening your arm there. Any discomfort in your wrist, you might want to make sure your hand is straight on the end of the wrist and not your wrist hasn't bent. Taking a couple more breaths there, each exhale, relaxing your legs. Easing right knee to the right, left leg down to the left. On your next inhale, bring your legs back to the center. Reach up, taking a belt loop in each hand, drawing that leg back to its biting point. And release the belt. Lower your left leg, stretch out your right leg, move, putting the belt to one side, palms turn up, shoulders relaxing, feet relax apart. Checking in with how your legs feel having stretched. Then bringing your getting ready for core. So we're going to do our ITB in just a moment. But I thought while we're down here, we'll do our lying down postures. So we'll do some work for the core, and we're going to do that today with yogic sit-ups. So to prepare for yogic sit-ups, then bring your hands by your side with your palms turned down. Bring your feet together, flexing your feet, pressing your knees down. Draw your navel towards your spine. So draw that in nice and firmly, so you'll maybe feel your lower back dip down to the ground just a touch. And then with your navel still drawing in, as you next exhale, lift your upper back away from the ground. So you're rolling it up off the ground. Bring your arms up with you so that they can stretch forward. And as they stretch forward, you can take your chest towards your toes. You can take your hands towards your toes, keeping your navel drawing in towards you. And then as you next inhale, bring that down, landing your head back down on the ground. So you're going to take about 6 more of these in time with your own breath. So hands by your side, navel drawing down. As you next exhale, lifting yourself up, lifting your back away from the ground, pressing your hands down towards your toes, turning your palms up towards the ceiling. As you inhale, taking that down, turning your palms back down. And then keep that going in time with your own breath. Navel still drawing towards your spine. As your hands press forward, broadening, allowing your back to broaden. And then once you're lifted, really drawing your navel in so that your lower back is pressing against the ground as much as you can. So your lower back will stay in contact with the ground. It's just your upper back that lifts. So taking 2 more of those with your own breath. And then once you've done those, let your feet relax apart, turn your palms to face up, and take a few breaths deep into your abdomen to release the core. You can stop now, Dennis. So that works the top of the core muscles. So we'll work the side muscles now. So bending your knees, bringing your knees up onto your chest. Taking your hands behind your head. So interlace your hands behind your head. Drawing your navel in towards your spine as always. As you next exhale, lifting your head and upper back away from the ground, heading towards your knees. Then turning to take your left elbow to your right knee, taking your right elbow down towards the ground, unturning so you're back straight, and taking your head back down. So we'll take this with the breath. As you exhale, lifting up towards your knees. As you inhale, turning right elbow to left knee. As you exhale, coming back and untwisting, and as you inhale, taking that back down. And then keeping that going with your own breath. So lift before you twist. And if you're thinking to yourself, I'd really like this to be a bit stronger, then as you twist towards your knee, you can send the opposite leg away. And then when you untwist on the exhale, you can draw it back in. Keeping your navel joint down towards your spine. So you're bringing your lower back in as close contact with the ground as you can. And taking one more of those each side. When you've completed those, extending your legs out, turning your palms to face up, breathing down into your abdomen, releasing your core muscles. From here we're going to take our first back bend. Well, in addition to the cobras that we've already done as part of sun salutations, we're going to take the fish pose today, Matsyasana. Bend your knees, bring your feet in towards you, lift your hips, and take your hands underneath your hips with your palms turned down. If you can, bring your thumbs together so the outside of the thumbs are touching. Pressing your hands down towards your feet so your arms are as long as you can make them, and then lowering your hips back down so that you come to sitting on your hands, extending your legs out away from you. Then to start, just keep your head resting on the ground and press your shoulders and upper arms firmly down into the mat. And as you do that, you may well find that that starts a bit of doming of your chest up towards the ceiling, and that's perfect. So press more strongly down with your upper arms into the ground to allow your chest to dome up even more, maybe lifting the upper back away from the ground. Then, to really come into the posture, your attention moves to your lower arms. So pressing your lower arms into the ground, pressing your elbows into the ground as you bend your elbows, pressing your hips down into your hands. And as your elbows bend, your upper body will lift away from the mat, vertically up towards the ceiling. And then once you come as high as you can, let your head rest back. Just rest it back as far as your neck's comfortable to go. And then lower your head down so that the back of your head, or maybe the crown of your head, comes into contact with the mat. When you're there, keep your weight in your elbows so that it's more your elbows taking the weight than your head. Lifting the centre of your shoulder blades, the centre of your upper back away from the mat. Lifting the centre of your chest towards the ceiling. Keeping your breath steady and smooth. It's very easy to lose the breath at this point. Take one more breath if you have it. Then pressing into your elbows, just lift your head a little away from the ground. Tuck your chin towards your chest and then drape yourself back down. Once you're draped down, lift your hips, release your hands, and maybe just take a rotation of your wrists, having just sat on them. Wonderful. Well, the Matsyasanas I couldn't see them all, but they were looking fantastic. Some good lifts there, and some crown of the heads on the ground as well. So from there, we're going to come up to standing and take our ITB stretch. So last time we did this ITB stretch, 2 weeks ago, it went very wrong in the left and right department. And I'm going to try and remedy that today. It's one of those postures where limbs cross the other side of the body. They always get me. So hands relaxing by your side, taking your left foot over and across your right leg. Then just have a look down. Bring your left toes as far back as you can, so that if possible, they'll be in line with your right foot toes. Bringing your left hand onto your left hip, pressing your back foot firmly down into the ground, letting your left knee just bend and almost relax, so it should feel that a lot of your weight is going down that right leg. Then just making sure that your abdomen is pointing forward, so your torso is pointing forward, and when you're ready, starting to tilt over to the left. As you tilt to the left, send your hips towards the right, so that your hips are going that way, your upper body is heading this way. Now, once you've taken that as far as you easily can, you might find a little adjustment of your shoulders might strengthen the stretch. And the stretch you're aiming for is a sensation of stretch down the outside of this right leg, where the ITB, the iliotibial band, connects to the muscles at the top of the leg. So you might find if you take one shoulder forward, the other back, or the other shoulder forward, the other back, you'll strengthen that stretch. And then we're going to take this with movement to really stretch it out. So as you next inhale, bring yourself back up to standing. And as you next exhale, tilt back over to the left. Inhaling, press your hips out to the right. And exhaling, take a good relax onto the left side. Inhaling, come back up. 2 more. As you exhale, tilt over to the left. Inhaling, press your hips out to the right. Exhale, relax left a little more, as if your left elbow is ever so heavy. Inhaling, come back up. Exhale, tilt left. Inhaling, send your hips to the right. Exhaling, relax to the left. Inhale, bring yourself back up. Uncross your legs, and then take your right foot over the left. Do have a little shake mid round if you need to. Make sure your toes are in as aligned and level with each other as you can. Right hand on right hip, facing forward with your torso. As you exhale, start tilting right. Sending your hips out to the left as you go. See if you can relax a little more to the right. See if your hips can go a little more to the left. Maybe making an adjustment to see what will give you the most stretch down the outside of this leg. And then we'll take it with the breath. As you inhale, bring yourself back up. As you exhale, hinge to the right. Inhaling, send your hips left. Exhaling, relax over to the right. Inhaling, come back up. 2 more. Exhale, tilt right. Inhale, send your hips to the left. Exhaling, relax right. Inhale, lift. Keep your back foot pressing firmly into the ground. Exhale, tilt right. Inhale, press your hips left. Exhale, relax right for the final time. You should now be at maximum stretch down the outside of that leg as you inhale, coming back up. Uncrossing your legs, taking a shake of your legs, and then hands on hips, feet hip distance apart, and take 2 or 3 turns to the right, followed by 2 or 3 turns to the left. And then bringing that to a halt, come to lying down on your mat. We're going to take our back bends. So coming to lie on your mat, lying on your front. Place one hand on top of the other and let your head, your forehead just rest on your hands. And with your forehead resting on your hands, you might find it's quite nice to take a rock of your hips. Then bringing that to a halt. We're going to take bow pose today, but before we take bow pose, we'll warm our upper backs up a little We've already done some cobras, but we'll just take some deeper cobras. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Tips of your fingers are lining up with the top of your shoulders. So that means your lower arms will be lifted away from the ground. Let me just adjust my camera. Forehead rests on the ground just for a moment, and then with your forehead resting on the ground, lift your shoulders up to the ceiling and then take them down towards your feet. So a quick up and back movement of your shoulders. Then as you next inhale, just roll your head up and away from the ground, just looking forward at first. On your next inhale, you can lift your chest away from the mat. Your hands are just resting, so they're not contributing to this lift. Send your shoulder blades down your back. This is all coming from the strength of the muscles in your back. Elbows head back as your chest eases forward. On your next exhale, let yourself lower back down, landing your forehead on the ground. We've got two more. So before you lift your head away from the ground, just take your shoulders up and back. Then inhaling, lift your face to look forward. Next inhale, slowly lift your chest away from the ground. Nice and steadily, taking your shoulder blades down, taking your elbows back. So your elbows are heading back, your chest is heading forwards. Keeping your breath steady. It's very easy to hold on to the breath here. One more breath, maybe lifting on that inhale, and as you exhale, lowering back down. Forehead rests on the mat. Take a breath. Take your shoulders up and back. Inhaling, then lift your face. So look directly forward along the floor. Next inhale, peel your chest away from the mat. Shoulder blades ease back, elbows ease back. And then if you want to, on this one, as you next inhale, put some pressure into your hands, pressing them forward away from the mat to help you to lift your chest higher. Be attentive of your lower back though. Only come as high as your lower back is comfortable to go. Let your chest ease forward. Let your elbows head back. Breath steady, breath smooth. One more breath. Lift as you take it. Exhaling, lower slowly down. Bring your hands underneath your forehead. Rest your forehead onto your hands. So we're going to build up to bow pose. Bow is the one where we take a hold of our ankles, Dhanurasana. We're going to build up to that with half bow pose. So come up to your elbows so that your hands are by the opposite elbow, and then just resting your hands and your palms on the ground. So if you find that that is stronger than your back knees, then you may just need to take your elbows a little further forward if that's if you're feeling that too much in your lower back. Then bend your right knee, bringing your right knee in as close as you can. You might find if you press your right hip crease, so the point where your leg joins the top of your hips, you might be able to bring it in a little closer, so you can then reach your right arm around and catch a hold, if you can, catch a hold of your ankle. You may find you're a bit nearer the top of your foot, and if you can't reach it, then you could take a belt loop and just loop the belt around your foot, holding the belt straps. Once you're there, just bring your chest so that you're facing it forward and keeping it as level with the ground as you can. You'll have a slight lift up of the right side, but you want to be as square onto the mat as you can be. And then pressing your arm down into the ground, lifting your chest up a little, pressing it forward, and then seeing if you can lift your knee away from the ground a little. So you press your right hip crease firmly down, send the signal to lift your knee. Now it won't lift very much, if at all. Maybe pressing your ankle into your hand then, that might help you to lift it a little more, or it will also help you to lift your chest a little higher. Keeping your whole of your left forearm pressing into the ground, giving you security, and taking one more breath, maybe lifting a little higher if you can. Then as you next exhale, lowering down, releasing your right leg, bringing your hands underneath your forehead and resting your forehead onto your hands. So your back now probably feels quite asymmetrical. So we'll take the other side, bringing your hands in, bringing your hand alongside your elbow, with your elbows close underneath your shoulders. Maybe just pressing into your hands so you can just lift your chest a little, then bending your left knee, bringing your left foot in as close as you can, pressing that left hip crease down, reaching your left arm right the way around to take a hold of your ankle if possible, the top of your foot if the ankle isn't easily reached. Then once you've got a hold, just level off so your chest is level as much as you can with the front of your mat. Your left shoulder will be a little bit further back, but square it to the front of the mat as much as you can. Pressing your left hip crease down, and then pressing that forearm to lift your chest. Seeing if you can send the signal down to lift your knee. You may get a millimetre or two's lift. And then you can stay here if you want to strengthen this. Press your ankle into your hand. That might get you a bit more lift. Using your left arm to lift the knee a little more. Pressing your forearm down. Pressing your chest forward. Taking one more breath. Then as you exhale, lowering that leg, releasing, bringing your hands underneath your forehead, resting your forehead onto your hands or a cheek. See you in a minute, Barry. Barry was practicing in his garden. Was practicing in his garden. So then taking this to full bow. So if your back feels like it's done enough, you could rest this out, or you could take half bow again. Or if you want to come with me to full bow, then stretch your arms out in front of you. Stretch your legs away behind you. Resting your forehead on the ground if your forehead easily reaches. Then bending your knees. Bringing your heels as close to your buttocks as you can, pressing your hip creases into the ground, then lifting your arms and reaching them around to catch a hold of an ankle, or maybe catching a hold of the top of your foot. If you don't catch hold, then that's fine. You can have your hands separate from your feet, but be reaching your hands towards your heels, still drawing your heels in towards your buttocks. From there, as you next inhale, lift your face, looking directly forwards. And then as you next inhale, start to lift your shoulders and lift your chest. Start to lift your knees away from the mat. Again, you send the signal, it won't always be heard. And then to strengthen, start to press your ankles into your hands. That will allow you to lift your chest a little higher, to lift your knees a little higher. Keeping your breath nice and steady, nice and big. You'll be breathing into your upper back. Taking one more breath. And then as you next exhale, letting your knees come down, releasing your ankles, bringing your hands underneath your forehead, resting a forehead or a cheek, maybe the other cheek if you did a cheek last time, onto your hands. Bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, pressing yourself up to hands and knees so that we can cat-cow this out. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. First of all, just make your back nice and level. So maybe just draw your navel in a little so that your back comes level to the ceiling. And then let your tailbone tilt up to the ceiling, let your head tilt up to the ceiling, and now let your waist lower down to the ground. Let your abdomen relax down to the ground. As you next exhale, tuck your tailbone under, let your back arch up, and tuck your head under. So head and tailbone are tucking down as much as you can, but your back is arching up as much as it can. Taking that then with the breath. As you inhale, lift head and tailbone to come to cow. And as you exhale, tuck them under, arching your back up to cat. Next time you find yourself in cat, hold it there. Head tucks under, tailbone tucks under. See if you can bring your head under further. See if your tailbone will tuck under a little more. Pressing into your hands, your knees and your feet to let your back arch higher. Then release. Relax your body. Sit yourself back towards your heels. Keeping your knees bent for a moment, knees together for a moment, stretching your arms out and bringing your forehead down towards the ground. Have your hips as close to your heels as you can. Letting your exhales relax your whole body. So feeling your armpits descend a little with each out breath. And then having just given our back a bit of a stretch with our knees closed, if you prefer to child's pose with your knees wider, you could take your knees out towards the edges of the mat, letting your torso relax down between your legs. Maybe adjusting your hand position, if you prefer your hands down by your feet, or anywhere else, maybe on your lower back, one hand on top of the other, then take your hands there. If your knees are wide, every exhale will bring your chest a little closer to the ground. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, pressing into your hands to bring yourself upright. And then coming to sit cross-legged, ready for a twist. If you want to sit on a block, then please do, or a cushion or anything else that will allow you to sit comfortably in cross-legged. I know that those comfortable and cross-legged may not go together for everyone. If you don't want to have your legs crossed, you could also stretch them out. It's all hellfire and damnation out there, but it's peace and calm in here, I hope. So yeah, have your legs wherever you want them to be. Sit nice and upright. Maybe just drawing your arms against your knees or your legs towards you so you can lift your chest, coming up straight. Taking your right hand behind you, fingertips press into the ground. Taking your left hand against your right leg or on your right knee. Press into your back hand so you're straight and looking forward. And then nice and slowly on your next exhale, twist your torso around to the right. When you've gone as far as you can easily go, then take your gaze over your right shoulder with your chin level. Seeing if you can then take your right shoulder blade just back a little. So the space that's behind your right shoulder blade, see if you can take your shoulder blade into it. And then use your next couple of breaths. As you inhale, press your backhand into the ground so you straighten your spine. And as you exhale, you ease your torso around another millimetre or two. Take one more breath. And as you exhale that breath, relax everything in your upper body. Bring yourself back around to face the front. If you've got your legs crossed, change the cross of your leg, or if you've got one leg straight and one leg crossed, then swap them over. Just be aware of how that makes you feel, having your legs in the opposite cross. Taking your left hand behind you, pressing your fingertips into the ground. Taking your right hand onto your left knee or against your left leg. First of all, just sitting up, looking forward. On your next exhale, start turning your torso around to the left. Lead round with your chest. When you've gone as far as you easily can, look over your left shoulder and see if you can take your left shoulder back, taking your left shoulder blade into the space behind you. Using your next 2 or 3 breaths, inhaling, straighten with the backhand. Exhale, ease yourself round. Take one more breath, a good inhale, and as you exhale, relax your body, bring yourself back to face the front and stretch your legs out. Then, if you've got a block, remove your block. We're going to take a hip stretch. So you've probably noticed in this class, there's 3 main hip stretches we do. We do pigeon, which is that one. We do thread the needle, which is basically pigeon upside down, which is that one. And then this is another hip stretch, which does a very similar thing. And it's worth you identifying which is your favourite hip stretch, so that you can maybe have that in your post-run or ride repertoire. This one's quite a nice, simple one. So come to sitting like this, with your hands behind you, palms pressing into the ground, feet hip distance apart, knees bent. Now, the downside to this one is that it can get strong on the wrists. So I think it's generally easiest on the wrist to have your fingertips pointing away, but we're all built differently. So you might decide that you'd rather have your fingertips pointing out to the side or your hands pointing in towards you. So if you find it uncomfortable, then you could make an adjustment. Hands press into the ground, your chest lifts, and then when you're ready, press into your feet so that you lift your hips away from the ground. Picking up your right foot, crossing your right ankle on your left knee, above your left knee, then sit yourself back down. Now, as soon as you start to do that, the stretch will develop. If you find you can't comfortably sit your hips back down, then grab a block and put a block underneath your hips. Then, as with all of these hip postures, you want to flex your right foot. So bring your right toes up towards your knee, especially the little toe side of your right foot. Then start to press your right knee away from you and lift your chest up towards that knee. And what you might find is that you can walk your hands in a little bit to let you bring that knee, your chest closer to your left leg. And then just adjusting that, so you're pressing into your arms to lift your chest up and forward. You're pressing your right knee away, you're flexing your right foot. And then once you've found your perfect stretch, just keep your breath going. Enjoy that stretch right in that hip, taking your in-breath to where you feel that stretch. Maybe having a final walk-in of your hands. And then to come out, walk your hands back, uncross your right leg, maybe have a wrist circle, and just see what you think is going to be best to do for the next one. If that's been too strong on your wrists, then you might want to sit the next one out, although I'd hate to leave you uneven, to be fair. If you're going to take this next one, then bring your hands behind you. Press into your hands to lift your hips. Cross your left foot, your left ankle on your right knee, and then sit yourself slowly down. You might be different on this side to the other one, so you might need a block underneath you on this one when you didn't need it on the last one. Flexing your left foot, bringing your toes up towards your knee, especially the little toe side. Maybe walking your hands in a little and pressing your left knee away from you. As you press that knee away, lifting your chest up and forward towards that knee. So I should have said it last time, you should be feeling a really good juicy stretch right in your left hip. And maybe a little bit going on in your left glutes as well. So seeing if you can walk in any more, seeing if you can bring that chest any closer, press your left knee away any more. Keeping pressing into your hands, lifting your chest. Then as you next exhale, walking your hands back, uncrossing your left leg, stretching your legs out, giving them a shake. Have a rotate of your wrists. So it's another benefit of the posture is that it's wrist strengthening. So you're getting some bone loading, strength in the bones, you're stretching tendons, but only if your wrists are up for it. So it's nearly time. So let's finish with a forward fold, and then we'll come to final relaxation. Come to standing. So bringing your hands onto your hips, feet hip distance apart. Lift your chest. And you're lifting your chest because that's going to be your point of focus. You're going to be leading that forward. So when you're ready, start to lead the chest forward, pressing it forward away from you. You can let your bum stick out a bit at the back if you need to. Coming down slowly, keeping that lift in your chest for as long as you can, sending the crown of your head forward, sending your hips back. And then when you've gone as far as you can, let everything go. Let your knees maybe bend a little, let your upper body relax down, let your hands relax. Maybe taking hold of the opposite elbow with the opposite hand, letting your neck muscles relax so your crown of your head points down towards the ground. Using your next 3 out breaths. Every time you breathe out, let your body relax down a little more towards the ground. One more breath, a final relax down. And bend your knees a little more deeply. Release your hands to the ground. Tuck your tailbone under and slowly start to uncurl and unfurl up. Let your head stay heavy, making your head the last thing that lifts. Once it has lifted back onto the top of your shoulders, take your arms back, have a roll, and then bring yourself to lying down on your mat. Take something for the back of your head if you would like to, so that your head and neck can be comfortable. Maybe stretching your legs out towards the corners of the mat, but equally you could keep your knees bent. Whatever allows you to relax. Feeling the back of your body against the ground. And making that connection with the ground as strong as you can using your out breath. So there'll already be some places that have got a good connection with the ground, like the back of your head, your heels, your hips, your upper back, your elbows. Each time you breathe out, let everything else relax a little more. Letting go completely. Keep your body still for a few more moments as you bring your awareness and attention back. Maybe hearing noises that are inside the room, or right now probably more outside your room, just tuning into them to bring your awareness and attention back. Take a wriggle of your fingers and toes. Bring your legs together, extend your arms up overhead. Stretch your toes forward, stretch your hands backwards. Stretching out long. Not overdoing it though. This one's a gentle waking up stretch. Then release the stretch, bend your knees, bring one knee then the other onto your chest. Arms can come over to hug your legs in, either behind your knees or around the front of your knees. Take a rock side to side. Bring that rock to a halt. Ease your head up to your knees. Draw your knees to your chest. And release your knees. Take your head down, land your feet down, and from there maybe come into the right hand side for a breath or two. Slowly bringing yourself up to sitting. Wonderful to see everybody. Hello Helen, lovely to see you. Namaste.